On July 30th, 1863, in Greenfield Township, Michigan, Henry James Ford was born. He was born on a farm in Wayne County, Michigan. As a boy, he experienced farm life, and no one could have guessed that the small farm boy from Michigan would develop into the face of the world of industry. Ford began neither the process of creating automobiles nor the overall process of industrialization, but his name would become one of the most notorious names in the industry. As a young man, Ford showed a great interest in race cars. After working on steamboats for a few years, Ford suggested the use of internal combustion engines for road vehicles. Ford's first accomplishment was the twofold, which came out in 1896. This was an extremely basic car with a small frame and enough room for only 2 passengers. In 1903, at the age of 40, Ford opened Ford Motor Company, which started off as a small company would soon blossom into one of the most prominent companies in the U.S. With multiple factories, Ford Motor Company was up and coming by the year Model T. Ford wanted to make a car by aiming not for a large luxury vehicle, but for one that was light and sturdy, and one that could travel on unpaved roads. Ford also wanted to make a car that was affordable for the average family. The Model T was just that. A basic car with a top speed of 45 miles an hour, the Model T could hold up to 4 people and was extremely sturdy and affordable. The Model T was thrown into production and would soon be the most popular car of its time.
Henry Ford changed the American way of life. Ford's designs changed how we get around, from horse-drawn carriages to automobiles. Henry Ford was an engineer and a businessman. He spent his early career working on steam engines. In 1896, Ford built his first car, the quadricycle, and never looked back. He spent the rest of his career making cars. The Model T became the most famous, a car that changed history. Before it were cars that only the very rich could afford. The first Model T was built in 1908, and with the top speed of 45 miles per hour was a much faster way to travel. It was in 1913 that Ford introduced an idea that revolutionized how cars were made. He used an assembly line.
In 1913, Henry Ford introduced the assembly line. The assembly line carried the parts to the workers, who then assembled the parts. This innovative new way of building cars increased production time. A car that once took 12 hours to make now took under 6 hours. The Ford factories were producing about 1 car every 93 minutes. The invention of the assembly line was huge for the production of automobiles. On April 7, 1947, in Dearborn, Michigan, Henry Ford passed away at the age of 83. With the invention of the assembly line, Ford laid the foundation for the 20th century. Ford led the charge of replacing farming with manufacturing, and his legacy will never be forgotten.